Hello, my name is Jesse Walter, and for the final project I used GIMP to create the textures that I applied to this material, to the object here. Now this object is called a micrometer. A little background on it. It's a tool used for measurement, and you ratchet the end of it to push the piston, which closes in on the anvil, and you can get a precise measurement. But this tool does us no good if we don't see the measurements. And so that's where we needed to use a tool like GIMP to create these images, which then gave us something that looked more like this. And here we can see the detail that those images provide. We see the engraving, we see the lettering, um, we see the texture on the grip, and this is why we call it a texture, because we can show these types of details. The more proper term for it is a material, because the material shows shininess. Material also represents roughness and texture as well. And we combine textures to create those materials. And when I say textures, I mean you can have multiple pieces of art incorporated to get the kind of look and the realism that you're seeking. To do that, I had to UV these objects, and if we switch to the grid mode or wireframe mode, then we can see, you know, kind of what the grid of that skin looks like, and we can further see that if we go into this mode, the UV editing mode of the 3D modeling program. So if I click on this object, switch to edit mode by hitting tab, and then we select to either face or edge. I think I have face right here. Grab all the faces. In order to grab everything on every side, we need to make sure that we can see through it. Once we grab all the faces, we can see this pattern here. Once we have this pattern, we can export this pattern out to a PNG. I can import it into GIMP, like we see here, and lay out how I want the skin to look on that model in GIMP, and then export that back into a PNG to create the textures I need for the model. So then when I import them back in, I'm going to switch to another mode, which is the shading mode. And in the shading mode, we can actually see where the multiple textures are. I have a normal map here, and I have a texture map. And the normal map is what's giving us this illusion that there's detail in terms of the roughness and the bump and like the engravings and so forth. It's a special map that uses color to designate how the light's going to bounce off the model, and thus give us these optical illusions of the engraving. So in conclusion, would I recommend this tool as a professional? Yes, I would. Would I use it myself? I think I might. I think I will. Once you get over the hump of the user interface and you get your keys mapped in a way that is fluent for you, then modeling becomes a lot easier and a lot quicker. If I had done this project in Maya, which is what I'm accustomed to, I honestly could have had what I did in 50 something hours, and that's counting modeling it out and texturing it. I could have had it done in 1 or 2 days instead of, as long as it took. Uh, Probably 8 hours easy. But again, that's knowing the tool, and I think over time, once a person learns this tool, they can make some very professional objects. I've seen examples where this has been used in professional movie studios. It's been used in professional game studios, and as one who has used Maya and 3D Studio Max and now Blender, uh, I can I can firmly say that I feel like this is a nice bridge between Maya and 3D Studio Max. So this kind of touches on who would benefit from this tool. You would have 3D artists for games, for movies. You would have artists for architectural firms who want to mock up a design. Uh, Other people that could benefit from this would be television, when they need to create some artificial props and throw it into like a green screen or whatever. You could, whip something out with a tool like this. I've used such tools in Fortune 500 companies. When I worked at Visa's headquarters, I worked in our secret lab where we created new technology, and as such, I did a lot of 3D modeling. Uh, that 3D modeling was used for data visualization. So, a lot of areas, where this tool can be used, and I enjoyed it. I'm glad I had the opportunity and a reason to try out these tools. I would argue that I don't know that I would use GIMP for all my needs in the industry. I think it's a good starting tool. I think there's some extra um, bells and whistles they could add to make it as comparable to some of the things that we utilize in Photoshop. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching.